right, now to our discussion on matters to do with Beyond the Bar Africa Conference, which is upcoming in the next few days. I'm joined in studio by Teresa Njoroge, who's the founder and CEO of Clean Start Africa, and also Malele Ngalu, who's our Oasis Regional Director, but also sits at the board. Gentleman, lady, welcome to Business Today. I mean, for starters, Teresa, we are talking about reintegration.
Yes.
And it's a critical recovery tool, being intentional. If somebody has been incarcerated and they're coming back home, it's not the same.
Yes.
Talk to me about this intervention that you're running.
Sure, indeed, Noah. Thank you very much for having us, because this is a matter that has been left out even within the criminal justice system. You see, it's a system whereby someone is arrested while they are in society. That means they have either left a family, work, whatever it is they were doing in society, they are now removed upon arrest, taken through prosecution. Post-prosecution, they're taken through the entire judicial system and end up being convicted. So they have been passed from one player to another. There's a conveyor belt here of a system. But the day this system is done with you, there are no structures or steps to help you reintegrate back into society where you began. And you see, the purpose for this criminal justice system is to ensure that society is functioning safely. There's law and order. And by them taking you out, it's because something was going wrong, ideally. And so they are taking you through this system so that the time you're done with this system, you go back and are able to interact with the society in a noble manner. However, unfortunately, there's no structure or system that helps you come back to society and successfully reintegrate. The society fears you, you've lost your credibility, and you don't have any income to start a decent livelihood. You have actually lost so much more. And then secondly, when still on this reintegration matter, unfortunately, the truth of the matter is that the justice system has a bias against the marginalized and the poor. The truth of the matter, those who populate our prisons are the poor and the vulnerable, the ones who don't have the muscle to fight. So they will be arrested when hawking, just misdemeanors that can be corrected within society and do not warrant these individuals being removed from the society. So we continue maligning and really discriminating the very vulnerable amongst us. So by the time we're even releasing them back into society, they're so broken, while the very culprits who should have been taken through this system are still walking free. Yeah,
and it's quite unfortunate. I was just looking at the numbers. We have 5,000 women in prison, 18% of the prison population, women, and of the 18%, 90% of these women are either mothers or breadwinners of their family, which seems, even economically speaking, when you pull them out of society through this process, you're impacting lives economically.
Exactly.
Now, bringing them back, again, you've dented them. It becomes very difficult for them to reintegrate economically speaking.
Sure.
Malele, maybe talk to me about some of the interventions, especially in regards to the economy and the pocket that you are running to ensure that these women at least come back and are reintegrated into the community.
Thank you, Noah, for the opportunity just to be able to speak on such an important matter in our country. As you've said, a lot of women, when they go into prison, when they come out, they're already disadvantaged financially. And one of the key reasons is once you step out of prison, you're not able to access a certificate called good conduct. So that what that means is that you're not able to be employable. And so even though you went in when probably you were a professional, when you come out, you still have the same qualifications, but you're not able to work or earn a living. And so one of the key things that we are doing at Clean Start is to strategically think through these ladies when they come out of prison. It's not only about receiving them at the gate, but saying, where are you going back to? If you don't have a place to go back to, how do we work with you towards getting to a space where you can stand again? Whether it means you being able to reconnect with your family, because you know that relationships are what are more important to an individual as they are trying to reestablish themselves. But we've gone further than that and said, we will form self-help groups to bring all these women who have come out of prison to be able to benefit not only from knowledge, but to put together resources so that they can start afresh. We have a kitty that we are building that allows these women to be able to access some financial help that enables them to stand again and rebuild their life.
All right.
Yes.
Teresa, I mean, I'm looking at this so far.
Yeah.
Just from your observation, this kind of kitty and this kind of intervention, what change are you seeing? Are you seeing again that light? They say when you look somebody in the eye, you can see the light in the eyes are back and flickering.
I tell you, indeed, because we've actually done a research, because one of the things that misses a lot in this space is data. So you don't have the evidence to even understand the kind of programs or the advocacy that you need to do. So we began with collecting the data, the evidence. And that research showed us that, as you've rightfully said, 90% of those who are in prisons are mothers and the sole caregiver of their families. So when they go to prison, the children have been left by themselves. The research also showed us that 65% of these mothers, their children were below the age of 10. That's when a child really needs mom, needs to be, you know, the education foundation, to be protected. So these children drop out of school, have no protection, have no care whatsoever. And the statistic also showed us, sadly, 70% are youth. So this statistic we're talking about, 263 million youths in Africa being vulnerable with lack of employment. This issue of unemployment, underemployment, high rates of poverty, those statistics trickle down and translate to these people we're finding in prison. And so when we begin this kitty that has helped 4,000 formerly imprisoned women upon release from prison get into decent means of livelihood. We've got businesses that we've started, for example, a textile center, salon business, restaurants. You see, these are decent ways that these women can earn what they were looking for their children in the very first place. Because how they got into the criminal justice system is hawking, which is a crime without a license in our cities. But this woman was not selling this 300 worth of sweets because she wanted to be a criminal. She was pushed to get those 300 worth of sweets, go sell them in the streets, get some money, go back home with some unga, some greens, make a meal for her children, and tomorrow she'll figure it out again. What she's looking for is an economic opportunity. What these youth are looking for is a way to make sense of the education that they got. Make sense, but if you wake up and you cannot find anything to do, and in our petty offenses, loitering is a petty offense. So as this youth is they're walking around, they're arrested, loitering, taken into prison. We are hardening our very vulnerable people who need support with opportunities, calling them criminals by taking them to prison. So these kitties that we've put in place have really given hope and light. But you see, Clean Start cannot be able to do this alone. And that is why we create platforms such as the one we've created that's happening this week, which is called Beyond the Bars Africa Conference, where all players come together. So for instance, we have 400 formerly imprisoned women who are coming to Kasarani Stadia, and we have key players, i.e. faith-based organizations, corporate leaders, the criminal justice actors, because we want to say to them, the way we are dispensing justice,
Yes.
it needs to change.
Definitely.
So those are the discussions that will be happening throughout this week.
That's incredible. And you're looking forward to Beyond the Bars Africa Conference 2023. It's the first one?
It's the fourth one.
It's the fourth one.
Yes, it is.
So it's been there and building momentum.
Building momentum.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's very important. And those partnerships are very important.
Yeah.
Maybe as we finish up, Malele,
Yeah.
I know the quest for reform is very critical.
Yes.
Briefly, where are we looking at? Are there any targets within Clean Start, maybe, that you hope to achieve moving forward in regards to maybe reaching these amounts of formerly incarcerated women? What targets do we have that we can hold you guys accountable to?
That's really a good question. And so we look ourselves as a Pan-African organization. And so we see the work that we do in this country as the pilot or the genesis of what we want to do for the continent. And so we shall not rest as long as we have women in prison. We're not looking at ourselves as resting. And so, first of all, we want to be in as all the women prisons that are within our country. We want to be able to run our Ufunuo program within the country.
All right.
But also expand into other, into the region, as well as to the rest of our continent.
Hey, Teresa.
Yes.
Njoroge, Malele, and Ngalu.
Yes.
Appreciate your input and your time.
Thank you.
Our time is up, man. But thank you very much. Incarceration, there is hope. Then after you fall down, we help you pick it up together and move on. Well, that's where we put a full stop today on Business Today. Thank you very much.